What's up, everybody? It's Philip Randolph, and it's 10 Minutes to Vent. And today we're going to be talking about a subject that everybody can participate in, everybody can give their honest opinion on. And today we're talking about what's the better source of information? What's the most reliable source of information? The internet versus the library. Okay, the internet versus the library. I'm going to be honest with you. I believe both sources are reliable, but I really believe, honestly, that the library have way more information than the internet does. And let me let you know why. Let me explain myself. I believe that the library and these historical libraries have way more artifacts, reliable information than the internet. And I believe this because the internet is still fairly young. And the people who own the internet, I really believe they're in cohorts with very rich individuals and rich families, and they want to put certain information on the internet. And it just makes sense to me. Like, if you want to mislead people or to inform people, you're going to put whatever you want to be posted, whether it be on paper or online. Now, since a large majority of people around the world, we're addicted to social media, we're addicted to the internet, it just makes sense for whoever's in charge of the media to put it online, right? Back in the day, people used to read newspapers heavily. Newspapers, books, magazines, and that's where people got a lot of their information from. Books, magazines, newspapers, and of course the radio. When television came, it just blew everything out of the water. Why? Because now the people behind the scenes can control the masses. They control their minds, right? Why? Because when people see something, automatically they kind of feel like it's true. Okay? They believe it's true. Why? Because I saw it on TV. And if people keep talking about it, people going to feel like it's true. But before then, it was newspapers, it was books, encyclopedias, research papers. Individuals literally did hardcore research. People used to go to different cities, different states, different countries, and literally document and write down different sources of information because they was trying to figure things out. With the internet, anybody that has computer literacy can put anything online, right? And with Google, Yahoo, Bing, these are search optimization engines, SEOs. You can literally, if you are computer literate, you can put it on the computer. You can put it online, and now people will start believing your source of information to be true. Okay? Now, it's so much different information online you have to weed through. And I believe the same thing with the library. It's so many different books. Right? Different authors. Some people claiming to be professors and doctors, and they're really not. This has been going on since the beginning of the time, guys. But I honestly believe that with the library, right, there's more valuable information in the library than there is online. And the only reason why is because if you read multiple books, right, there's pages in books, right? And along those pages where the authors, they get their information from, and it's called Cited, their works cited page, right? And they'll let you know if they got their information from another author, professor, or a book. Like to write books and magazines back in the day, especially books. We're just gonna talk about books. You had to have a reliable source of information where you was getting your information, especially when it comes to writing a book, right? And writing a book, it would take a longer time to write a book. Sometimes it would take years to write a book. Why? Because your information, you didn't want to just put anything in a book. You wanted to make sure that the book was indeed reliable information, factual information, that it will help people, okay? Because that's why people read books. They're looking for answers, right? They have questions. They're looking for answers. Unless you're just a author that likes to write entertaining novels and fantasy novels, sci-fi novels, just straight fictional fictional literacy, right? But if you are a non-fictional author or professor, right, you're trying to give reliable information to the masses, and you're hoping that this information that you research, right, can help an individual. There's definitely a difference between people who use research from books from people who use research from the internet today. Now, I'm not saying that everything that's on the internet is false. I'm not saying that, because there are a lot of factual information on the internet, but you have to really weed through, because it's a lot of scamming online. It's a lot of scamming online, and the reason why is because it's easy to hide. It's easy to hide. You can be anything that you want to be. With books, it's kind of hard to hide, because everything written in a book, the address, your name, people could look you up. People literally could look you up back in the day, as far as with the author. And if you are a true author and you are really trying to give valuable information to the masses, you're on the go all the time. You're traveling, you're promoting your book. So a person trying to find you, it wasn't that hard. In today's climate, putting reliable information online can come from anyone. It can come from AI, right? It can come from a elementary school student. It can come from a little child. It can come from anybody, and you would literally never know, right? Especially if, like I said before, if you have any computer literacy. I'm a firm believer, before I start explaining myself to anybody, if I want to explain myself to the masses, I'm trying to convince the masses to live this way or to do something, I need to make sure that I'm doing my proper and due diligence when it comes to research. I need to make sure that I'm reading books, right? Not just online, not because I really feel like just taking information online, a lot of the information online has been tampered with, right? It has been tampered with. And with books, it just takes more time. It takes more time, especially older books, right? Because let's be honest, books these days, you can use ChatGPT, right? You can use different sources of information throughout the internet and make a great novel, make a great research book that's pertaining to whatever that you're trying to convince the masses on. I just believe it's more substance in the libraries, guys. There's just way more substance. There's millions and millions of books. There's books that's been burnt, right? There's books that has been archived, and not for public use, not for public consumption. When I say consumption, I'm not talking about as far as food, but consumption as far as knowledge wise. These books have been archived, these files have been archived, and if you're just a normal person, you will not have access to these books for a reason. Why? Because of the information, the information that's in these files, these documents, these books. Like I say, nothing's new under the sun. And I'm just a firm believer that books hold so much knowledge. Why? Because a lot of people do not want to read books. It's easier to read a blog. It's easier to read a caption. It's easy to read a couple of lines, but a book, right? A book takes time. It takes time to read. It takes time, and it's sad, but a large majority of people these days, they don't want to spend the time in reading and digesting a book that's going to help them. People want instant information, so it's quicker to go to Google or Yahoo or Bing or wherever you're getting your information from. Ask a question, ChatGPT, so you can get an instant answer. Back in the day, you would have to read several different novels so you could come up with an answer, or so you could find the answer that you're looking for. But believe it or not, doing it that way, more substance in your answer, right? You will get a better understanding from your answer as well that you're trying to find through the access of books. Guys, it's Philip Randolph. It's been 10 Minutes to Vent. Today we've been talking about what's the most reliable source of information, library or the internet. Which one do you believe is the best source of information? Okay? There's no right or wrong answers. Leave your comments below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Like I always say, stay focused, stay blessed. And until the next episode, I'm out.